He was the man who felt nothing, until he wanted her. Park Tae-sang was a myth, the heartless billionaire with no desires. But in the shadows of their bedroom, the Ice Prince reveals his true face. With a weapon in one hand and his wife in the other, Tae-sang proves he isn't empty. He's consumed. I'll burn soul to ash before I let you go. Is Michelle his wife or his latest obsession? In a marriage built on secrets and fire, survival is the only thing that matters. Welcome to Afro-Korean Stories. Michelle and Tae-sang's roller coaster is just heating up. Secrets, sparks, and serious drama are about to explode. Don't get left behind. Smash that subscribe button and flip on notifications so you never miss a chapter. Quick question for you in the comments. If you discovered your dream-arranged marriage match was secretly a dangerous mastermind pulling strings from the shadows, would you bolt for the exit or would you stick around and face the fire? Drop your choice below. I'm reading every reply. 4 days before my world detonated, my father traded my future to salvage his skin. That's the unvarnished truth of the afternoon. He summoned me to our Manchester penthouse and declared I'd be marrying Park Tae-sang, sovereign of Seoul's criminal underworld, in exactly 1 week's time. The contracts are signed, my father announced, his attention fixed on the whiskey in his glass rather than his daughter's disintegrating life. My stomach lurched violently. Acid burned my throat, but his glacial indifference never wavered. Every childhood memory fractured in that instant. Was this stranger really the man who'd taught me to ride a bicycle? What kind of father auctions his daughter's soul for his own comfort? He didn't even blink. Words kept spilling from his mouth like poison. The Park dynasty commands over 60% of Korea's shadow empire. Your marriage secures our family's immunity and erases our debts completely. Debts? For the love of God, Dad. I'm 24 years old. I'm your daughter, not a business asset to be liquidated. My voice shattered as I witnessed my entire universe collapsing. You're both, he stated with brutal finality. The wedding is Friday. Pack your life accordingly. That conversation severed the last thread connecting me to my old existence. The subsequent week dissolved into an obsessive investigation of my future husband's history. What I discovered froze my blood solid. Park Tae-sang, 32, seized control of his family's criminal empire at 25 after his father's execution-style assassination. Ruthless, strategically brilliant, politically untouchable. But one mesmerizing detail surfaced repeatedly across every intelligence source. He was reportedly exclusively attracted to men. Multiple verified sources confirmed it. Surveillance photos captured him at Seoul's most exclusive underground clubs with male companions, 0 documented romantic entanglements with women throughout his adult life, and supposedly he maintained a male lover embedded deep within his inner circle. At least he won't expect physical intimacy, my best friend Amara consoled me during our video call. Silver lining in this nightmare, right? Exactly. I'm nothing but elaborate set decoration, a convenient beard for his traditional family's expectations. Yet something felt fundamentally wrong about the narrative. The desolation in his photographed eyes whispered of someone trapped in an elaborate performance, playing a role written by someone else. The flight to Seoul felt like travelling through a wormhole into an alternate dimension. Private jet reeking of wealth I'd never conceived, and the suffocating knowledge that I was soaring toward a destiny I hadn't chosen, toward a man who supposedly couldn't want me, even if he tried. Tae-sang's right hand, an intimidating woman named Soyeon, with eyes like a trained assassin, collected me from Incheon Airport. Mr. Park is managing a critical situation. He'll meet you at the penthouse after midnight. Critical situation. Naturally, I'd just married Korea's most dangerous criminal mastermind. The penthouse embodied my darkest expectations, sleek, aggressively modern, obscenely expensive, and radiating the warmth of a luxury mausoleum. Like being imprisoned in architectural perfection. I was arranging my belongings when the door whispered open. I turned and the world stopped rotating. Park Tae-sang in 3 dimensions was absolutely catastrophic to my nervous system. Towering, lethally built, encased in a flawlessly tailored midnight suit that probably cost more than my university education. His face was all dangerous angles and sharp edges, with a vicious scar carving through his right eyebrow like a war medal. But his eyes, God, his eyes paralyzed me completely. Absolute obsidian, burning with frightening intensity, utterly impenetrable. Michelle. My name rolled off his tongue in that devastating voice with its Korean cadence, and something in my chest detonated. "Welcome to your new existence. Thank you," I whispered, despising how fragile I sounded. "We need to establish the rules of engagement." He prowled further into the space, and I detected layers of scent, expensive cologne, gunpowder, and something darker, almost predatory. "This union is purely strategic. You'll accompany me to necessary functions, perform the role of devoted spouse publicly. Behind closed doors, we maintain completely independent lives." I wasn't expecting anything beyond that. Not given your inclinations. The words escaped before my brain could intercept them. So this arrangement actually serves both our purposes perfectly. Something volcanic flickered across his expression before vanishing. "Is that your conclusion?" he asked, voice dropping an octave. "It's what every source confirms," I countered. "Every source is catastrophically wrong." He advanced closer, my heart attempting to escape my chest. "But absolutely, let's preserve that convenient fiction. It serves multiple purposes." "Wait, what?" My eyebrows shot up. "Are you implying the narrative is fabricated? Does it fundamentally matter?" His gaze descended down my body with deliberate surgical precision, and flames erupted everywhere his eyes touched. "You're here to become my wife in name exclusively. My actual desires shouldn't concern you remotely." But the scorching intensity of his stare concerned me profoundly, like he was mentally undressing me, envisioning scenarios that obliterated political arrangements entirely and involved the king-sized bed dominating the space behind me. "The ceremony is scheduled for 3 days, he continued, voice roughening dangerously. "Intimate gathering, blood relatives exclusively. Soyeon will orchestrate everything." "And after the ceremony?" My throat constricted painfully. "Afterwards, you smile beautifully, never question my business operations, and remain invisible." He pivoted toward the exit, then froze. "One non-negotiable requirement. You never leave this residence without armed protection. Seoul's criminal network knows your identity now. That transforms you into a walking target." The door sealed behind him, abandoning me trembling on the bed's edge. Everything about that encounter obliterated the narrative everyone accepted as gospel truth. The way he'd examined me like a starving man, the electric tension crackling between us like live voltage, the dangerous edge roughening his voice. Either everyone was spectacularly wrong about Park Tae-sang, or he was the most talented actor Seoul had ever produced. The wedding ceremony blurred past in exquisite garments, frozen traditions, and Tae-sang's palm burning possessively against my lower spine as cameras immortalized our union. His family personified my expectations, traditional, ruthlessly powerful, dissecting me with calculating precision like surgeons evaluating an organ transplant. "She possesses adequate attractiveness," his mother observed in Korean, presumably assuming I didn't comprehend. I'd been studying obsessively since the engagement bomb dropped. "Far too Western in manner, but adequate in appearance." "She's absolute perfection," Tae-sang responded in flawless English, drawing me aggressively closer. "And she's mine now. That's the only variable that holds any significance whatsoever." The raw possessiveness saturating his declaration made my stomach perform acrobatics. Following the ceremony, we returned to the penthouse. I shed my wedding gown for comfortable clothes, expecting Tae-sang to evaporate into his office as he'd done religiously every night that week. Instead, I discovered him in the living area, suit jacket abandoned, tie hanging loose, consuming whiskey while staring at Seoul's neon-drenched skyline like it personally offended him. "Shouldn't you be celebrating with your companion?" The question emerged, dripping with more venom than intended. toasting your brilliantly executed business transaction? He rotated slowly, something lethally dangerous igniting in his eyes. You genuinely believe that fiction, don't you? That I'm attracted to men. The entire world believes it. The entire world is catastrophically mistaken. He abandoned his glass and stalked toward me with predatory intent. But it's strategically invaluable. Deflects unwanted attention, prevents people from investigating too thoroughly what I genuinely crave. Which is what exactly? It means keep your distance, Michelle. His hand rose to cradle my jaw, thumb pressing against my lower lip with deliberate pressure. Because I'm not who anyone assumes, and if you venture too close, you'll uncover truths that place you in exponentially greater danger than this marriage ever could. He released me abruptly, already retreating. You're speaking in riddles? Perfect. Maintain that confusion. But his eyes betrayed everything. Hunger barely restrained, control stretched to snapping point. Tae-sang, go to your bedroom, his voice roughened dangerously. Before I do something we'll both regret, before I show you exactly what I am. I should have obeyed, should have fled. But rebellion flows in my veins like blood. My eyebrows knitted together. I see through your armor, J.H. You project intimidation to inspire fear, but underneath that fortress I observe you wrestling with something consuming you alive, and I need to comprehend what. I paused, advancing several deliberate steps closer. What do you genuinely want? My voice emerged barely above a whisper as he halted mere centimeters away. Things I have absolutely no right wanting. He turned back toward me again. His hand returned to my jaw, thumb pressing insistently against my lip. My entire existence I've felt precisely nothing. Zero attraction, zero physical desire, zero interest in the men or women who threw themselves at me constantly. I genuinely believed I was fundamentally defective. Perhaps asexual or actually gay and drowning in denial. What changed everything? You, he breathed. The single syllable emerged devastatingly raw, saturated with emotion that stole oxygen from my lungs. I examined your photograph when your father proposed this arrangement, and for the first time in 32 years, I wanted someone. Actually, I physically craved them with every cell in my body. It absolutely terrified me beyond reason. My breath caught violently. That's why you've been avoiding me like I'm contagious. I've been avoiding you because every second near you, I fantasize about things that would violate our agreement completely. Things that would horrify you if you glimpsed the thoughts consuming my mind constantly. His thumb pressed harder. So yes, absolutely let everyone believe I'm gay. Let them believe this marriage is elaborate theatre. It's infinitely safer than admitting the catastrophic truth. What truth? That I'm utterly obsessed with you. That I've spent every single night this week hard and aching and desperate, imagining what you'd look like spread beneath me, imagining the sounds you'd make when I'm inside you. That I married you for political strategy, but now I want to make this marriage devastatingly real in every conceivable way. Molten heat pooled dangerously low in my belly. Tae-sang, tell me to stop. His forehead pressed against mine, breath mingling. Tell me you don't want this and I'll retreat immediately. We'll maintain this arrangement purely professional, purely strategic. And if I don't want you to stop? He kissed me like a man possessed by demons, desperate, consuming, barely controlled chaos. His hands found my waist, crushing me against him with bruising force, and I felt precisely how desperately he wanted this. The hard evidence pressed insistently against my stomach. Definitely, absolutely, categorically not gay. We stumbled toward his bedroom in a violent tangle of grasping hands and gasping breaths, leaving a trail of discarded inhibitions. Final opportunity. He growled against my mouth like a predator. Once I claim you, I'm never releasing you. I don't share, Michelle. I don't do it temporarily or casually. You'll belong completely to me or not at all. Then make me yours. Completely. What transpired next incinerated every doubt, every reservation, every carefully constructed wall. Tae-sang worshipped my body like discovering religion, learning every sound I produced, every sensitive place that made me gasp his name, every secret my body had been keeping. When he finally pushed inside me, the pleasure was overwhelming, intense, almost unbearably perfect. We moved together frantically, desperately, chasing something neither had anticipated discovering in this arranged nightmare. "You feel extraordinary," he groaned, face buried in my neck, voice wrecked. "Absolutely perfect. Mine. Only mine." Later, as I lay completely boneless and satisfied in his powerful embrace, the magnitude of what we'd just done crashed over me like a tsunami. I'd just made love with my Mafia husband, a man the entire world believed preferred men, a man who'd confessed he was consumed with obsession for me. This was supposed to be strategic theatre. Instead, it felt like I'd just bound myself to someone lethally dangerous in ways I couldn't fully comprehend, couldn't begin to unravel. "I can hear your thoughts spiraling into chaos," Tae-sang murmured, pulling me impossibly closer. "Stop overthinking." "I can't. Not when everyone still believes you're gay and you're perpetuating those lies deliberately." "Perfect. Let them believe in fiction. It means nobody perceives you as my catastrophic vulnerability." His hand spread possessively across my stomach. "Publicly, we're a strategic arrangement. Privately, you belong to me completely. That's how this functions moving forward. That's extraordinarily complicated. Everything in my existence is catastrophically complicated, Princess. You'll adapt, or you'll drown." But I wasn't certain I'd adapt, especially not when I woke the following morning to find Tae-sang already dressed immaculately, a gun holster brazenly visible beneath his jacket, preparing for whatever dark business demanded his immediate attention. "Remain inside today," he commanded, kissing me hard and possessively. "I have a volatile situation requiring personal attention." "What kind of volatile situation?" "The kind you never question if you value your safety." He vanished before I could formulate protest. I spent that endless day exploring the penthouse like a caged panther, feeling like an exotic bird imprisoned in architectural perfection. By evening, I was mentally climbing walls with suffocating boredom and mounting frustration. When Soyeon casually mentioned needing to collect a classified package from Tae-sang's downtown office, I volunteered with perhaps too much enthusiasm. "Mr. Park explicitly instructed you to remain home." "Mr. Park isn't my warden." Famous. Last. Words. The office occupied a deliberately nondescript building that undoubtedly concealed countless illegal operations behind its boring facade. Soyeon guided me through multiple security checkpoints and up to Tae-sang's private floor. That's when our world detonated spectacularly. Men in tactical masks erupted from the emergency stairwell like demons, automatic weapons drawn, moving with terrifying military precision. "Get down now!" Soyeon violently shoved me behind a reinforced desk as gunfire erupted in deafening chaos. My heart attempted to shatter my ribcage as I crouched there, ears screaming, absolutely paralyzed with terror. This was devastatingly real. This was Tae-sang's daily existence, violent, merciless, absolutely lethal. The firefight lasted perhaps 90 seconds but felt like experiencing eternity in hell. Soyeon returned fire with frightening precision, and I realized with shocking clarity she wasn't merely an assistant. She was a trained killer. When one masked attacker broke through the defensive line, heading directly toward my hiding spot with clear intent, primal instinct commanded my actions. I seized a heavy crystal paperweight from the desk and swung with absolutely everything I possessed. It connected brutally with his temple, and he collapsed like a puppet with severed strings. Soyeon materialized beside me instantly, weapon trained professionally on the motionless man. "Impressive strike, Mrs. Park." My hands trembled violently, uncontrollably. "Is he unconscious or dead?" "Does it fundamentally matter?" she responded with chilling pragmatism. "You performed admirably under fire." but I didn't feel admirable. I felt like vomiting my internal organs. When oppressive silence finally descended, Soyeon was speaking rapid-fire Korean into her phone, her tone urgent. "Mr. Park is en route. Are you injured anywhere?" I shook my head mutely, incapable of producing coherent words. 15 brutal minutes later, Tae-sang exploded through the door, looking absolutely apocalyptic. His eyes found me instantly, scanning obsessively for visible injuries, and something in his controlled expression fractured completely. "You're unharmed. Tell me immediately you're unharmed." "I'm fine. Terrified beyond reason, but physically fine." He pulled me into his arms with bruising force, holding so devastatingly tight I could barely inflate my lungs. "You weren't supposed to be here. You were supposed to remain home where it's completely safe." I was losing my sanity trapped in that golden cage. Losing your sanity is infinitely preferable to losing your life. He pulled back sharply, hands framing my face with trembling intensity. "Do you understand now? This is my brutal reality. Enemies everywhere, territorial attacks, violence that could annihilate you at any moment. That's precisely why I need you protected obsessively. Who orchestrated this attack? Rival syndicate dispatching a territorial message." His jaw clenched violently. "They'll regret it with every remaining breath." Soyeon cleared her throat professionally. "Sir," she defended herself remarkably. Incapacitated one attacker independently. Tae-sang's eyes widened dramatically, then darkened with something resembling fierce pride mixed with bone-deep fear. "You fought back against a trained operative. I didn't have alternative options available. No, you absolutely didn't." He crushed me close again, pressing his lips desperately against my forehead. "And that's the catastrophic problem. You shouldn't have to make those impossible choices ever." The tense drive back to the penthouse felt suffocating. Tae-sang maintained iron grip on my hand the entire journey, thumb stroking my knuckles obsessively, radiating barely controlled volcanic fury. "This transforms everything fundamentally," he said finally. "I cannot allow you to remain this vulnerable. Starting tomorrow morning, you receive a dedicated personal security detail and comprehensive weapons training." "You want me to learn how to use firearms? I want you capable of protecting yourself effectively when I can't reach you," he corrected sharply. "Today proved catastrophically that my world doesn't care remotely about your innocence. They'll weaponize you to destroy me, and I need absolute certainty you can survive until I arrive." I didn't possess adequate words, so I simply nodded acceptance. We spent that intense night tangled together desperately, both craving the physical connection after experiencing genuine terror. Tae-sang made love to me slowly, thoroughly, worshipfully, like he was proving to himself I remained alive and whole, and his. "I meant every word," he murmured against my skin reverently. "You belong to me now. That means I protect you with absolutely everything I possess, everything I am." Even though this marriage was supposed to be purely strategic, nothing about this feels remotely strategic anymore. Nothing. Over the subsequent brutal weeks, I learned the devastating truth about my husband. Yes, he was lethally dangerous. Yes, he controlled criminal operations I was exponentially better off not knowing details about. But he was also strategically brilliant, fiercely protective, and completely devoted in his own intense, consuming way. He also trained me, absolutely relentlessly. Every morning before dawn, I worked with his elite security team. Brutal hand-to-hand combat, precision weapons training, advanced escape techniques. Tae-sang observed every grueling session with dark, burning approval in his eyes. "You're naturally gifted," he remarked one afternoon, after I'd successfully disarmed one of his most experienced guards. "Remind me never to genuinely antagonize you." "Too late. I'm already antagonized that you're forcing me awake at 5:30 every morning for this torture," he laughed, a rare, genuine sound that transformed his entire face. "You'll deeply appreciate it when these skills save your precious life." and I absolutely hated that he was completely correct. The elaborate rumors about Tae-sang persisted meticulously, carefully maintained whispers designed to keep people endlessly speculating. He was strategically photographed at Seoul's most exclusive underground events, always accompanied by his devastatingly handsome male lieutenant Tae-sang, always maintaining calculated distance that powerfully suggested intimacy without definitively confirming anything. Why maintain this elaborate charade? I asked one evening as we prepared dinner together. An oddly domestic scene, considering he'd probably ordered someone brutally eliminated that very afternoon. Because if my countless enemies understood how catastrophically you matter to me, they'd weaponize you to completely destroy me. He pulled me firmly against his muscular back, arms wrapping possessively around my waist. This protective fiction means you're merely a political wife, strategically not worth targeting seriously. Today's attack proved that strategy is failing spectacularly. Today proved I need vastly superior security protocols. His lips found my neck hungrily. But the gay narrative absolutely persists. It's the only significant barrier keeping you relatively safe from complete annihilation. I turned in his powerful embrace, studying his scarred, devastatingly beautiful face. But were you genuinely with men before meeting me, or was everything an elaborate fabrication? I was never intimate with anyone before you. The raw admission was brutally vulnerable. I attended exclusive clubs, was strategically photographed with male business associates. I deliberately allowed the rumor to metastasize because it conveniently explained why I never dated anyone, never showed interest. But I never touched anyone intimately, male or female. Not once, not until you existed. Why specifically me? I genuinely don't know. He pressed his forehead against mine intensely. Perhaps because you didn't desperately want me initially. Perhaps because this union was arranged and I didn't have to fabricate feelings I didn't genuinely possess. But then I saw you and felt absolutely everything simultaneously. Desire, obsession, possession, need. You awakened something I genuinely believed didn't exist inside me. That's called demisexuality. What? Experiencing attraction exclusively after forming emotional connection. It's completely legitimate and real. His expression shifted profoundly, processing this revelation. I genuinely believed I was fundamentally broken. You're not broken whatsoever. You just needed the right person. I cupped his face tenderly. You needed me specifically. I did. I do. He kissed me with aching softness. Every single day I need you exponentially more. We separated later and I stood studying his scarred, heartbreakingly beautiful face intently. Do you ever completely exhaust it? The endless secrets, the elaborate deceptions, the constant performance? The admission emerged devastatingly raw, completely vulnerable. I'm exhausted from countless things. The relentless violence, the perpetual threats, the crushing weight of this massive empire. Sometimes I imagine what it would feel like to abandon absolutely everything. Would you actually? For you. His forehead pressed against mine with desperate intensity. I'd incinerate everything and never glance backward. 2 months into our unexpected marriage, everything shifted seismically. I discovered I was pregnant. The positive test sat on the pristine bathroom counter like a ticking time bomb waiting to detonate. Tae-sang was going to absolutely lose his controlled mind in simultaneously the best and worst ways imaginable. I found him in his office reviewing security footage analytically, looking simultaneously exhausted and lethally dangerous. We need to talk immediately. He looked up instantly, reading my expression with frightening accuracy. What's wrong? Nothing's wrong. Actually, I extended the test toward him. Everything's about to transform completely and irrevocably. Tae-sang stared at it for an extended, breathless moment. Then he stood with predatory grace, moving around the desk deliberately. When he reached me, his hands found my still flat stomach, spreading with possessive reverence. "You're carrying my child. Yes, our baby." His voice fractured with something devastatingly raw and vulnerable. "You're giving me what I never imagined possible." That's generally standard biology. "Michelle?" He collapsed to his knees reverently, pressing his face against my stomach with trembling hands. "Do you comprehend what this signifies? You're giving me an actual family, something I never imagined I'd possess, something I never even knew I desperately wanted until you made me want absolutely everything." His hands trembled uncontrollably against my skin. "I love you. I should have declared it explicitly before, but I'm declaring it now. I love you completely, devastatingly, irrevocably. You and this baby are my entire universe." Tears streamed down my face uncontrollably. "I love you too. Even though you're absolutely terrifying and lethally dangerous and will probably become the most suffocatingly overprotective father in recorded history." "Absolutely guaranteed." He stood, pulling me crushingly close. "Nobody will ever touch our family. I swear on it on my life." But that night, after we'd celebrated passionately, Tae-sang held me in the consuming darkness and spoke words that would transform absolutely everything. "I'm getting out completely." I lifted my head sharply from his chest. "What?" "The Empire, the criminal operations, absolutely everything." His jaw set with iron determination. "I refuse to raise our child in this violent world. I won't have them growing up wondering if their father will return home alive or if their mother will be targeted because of my identity. Tae-sang, you can't simply walk away from everything. I know perfectly well. That's precisely why it requires substantial time. 2 years, perhaps 3. I'll transition power meticulously, carefully, establish completely legitimate businesses, and ensure everyone who's demonstrated loyalty receives protection. But I'm finished, Michelle. This baby gave me compelling reason to desire a fundamentally different existence. Now I'm going to construct one brick by brick. You genuinely abandon everything you've built? For you, for our family?" His eyes held mine with burning intensity. "I'd incinerate my entire empire and never look backward once." The pregnancy transformed absolutely everything. Tae-sang became even more suffocatingly protective, but he also became remarkably softer in private, talking to my expanding belly, researching parenting with the same frightening intensity he applied to systematically dismantling his criminal empire, assembling nursery furniture while cursing colourfully in Korean. The transition began slowly, meticulously, and carefully. Tae-sang brought in expensive consultants to legitimize his businesses, real estate development, tech investments, import-export operations that actually imported completely legal goods. He met with his lieutenants individually, offering them honourable paths out or setting them up to assume different territorial control. "You're genuinely doing this," Soyeon observed one afternoon, watching the systematic dismantling of a massive empire. "He's actually walking away from everything." "He's rebuilding," I corrected firmly, "just completely differently." Our daughter entered the world on a breathtaking spring morning after 12 brutal hours of labour that had Tae-sang alternating between supportive and ready to violently eliminate anyone causing me pain. When the doctor finally placed our perfect baby in my trembling arms, Tae-sang wept openly and unashamedly. "She's absolutely perfect," he whispered reverently, touching her impossibly tiny hand with his scarred, lethally dangerous fingers. "She's devastatingly beautiful like you. She has your intense eyes. Then she'll be powerfully intimidating from birth." But his voice was achingly soft, completely awed. "What should we name her?" We'd discussed potential names for months, completely unable to agree. But looking at her now, the answer crystallized obviously. "Faith," I said quietly. "Her name is Faith." Tae-sang's breath caught sharply. "Faith? Because that's precisely what she represents. our faith in something exponentially better than what we knew. Faith Park. He smiled through streaming tears. Absolutely perfect. Later, holding our sleeping daughter while I rested, Tae-sang whispered heartbreaking promises to protect her always, to give her a world where she never experienced fear, to be the father she absolutely deserved. I stirred, watching him from the bed with overwhelming love. Making promises? She should eventually know the complete truth. He brought Faith over carefully, settling beside me. That love doesn't fit society's neat categories. That her father was completely lost until her mother found him. That's extraordinarily substantial for a newborn to process. She's brilliant. She can handle it. But he was smiling, that rare, achingly soft expression he reserved exclusively for us. 18 transformative months later, Tae-sang officially announced his complete retirement at a carefully orchestrated meeting of Seoul's underworld leadership. "I'm finished," he stated simply, voice carrying absolute finality. "My empire is divided among those who've genuinely earned it. My businesses are completely legitimate. I'm walking away permanently." "To what exactly?" someone challenged boldly. "To my family." Tae-sang's voice was glacially cold, absolutely final. "I have a daughter now, a wife, a life that matters infinitely more than any of this. You can comprehend that or not, but you will respect it completely." The room fell absolutely silent. Then slowly, respectfully, heads began nodding acceptance. It was finally over. We relocated 3 months later to a beautiful house outside Seoul, secure but peaceful, protected but remarkably normal. "It's absolutely perfect," I said, watching Faith take her first wobbly steps across our new living room with pure joy. "It's our beginning." Tae-sang wrapped his powerful arms around me. Our fresh start. No blood money, no criminal ties whatsoever. Just us and whatever we construct from here. "Are you going to miss it? The absolute power?" "No." The answer was immediate, unwavering. "Every morning I wake beside you. Every night I put Faith to bed. That's what I genuinely wanted. That's what I fought for." That night, standing on our private balcony with Faith sleeping peacefully inside and Tae-sang's arms wrapped around me, I realized we'd accomplished the seemingly impossible. We'd survived. We'd fallen devastatingly in love. We'd built an actual family from the smoking ashes of an arranged marriage nobody believed would work. "Thank you," Tae-sang murmured against my hair reverently. "For what specifically?" "For saving me, for Faith, for giving me a compelling reason to desire tomorrow." I turned in his embrace, studying his scarred, heartbreakingly beautiful face. We saved each other completely. We did. He kissed me with an aching tenderness. And now we get to actually live. Below us, Seoul glittered with infinite possibilities. Behind us, our daughter dreamed peacefully. And between us, 2 people who'd been forced together by circumstance, who'd discovered love in the most unlikely place imaginable, who'd built something devastatingly real from a foundation of secrets and survival. It wasn't the fairy tale I'd dreamed of as a naive girl. It was exponentially better because it was authentically, completely, irrevocably ours. If you made it to the end of this intense story and you enjoyed this journey, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Afro-Korean Stories. This is your way of supporting my channel, and it helps me tremendously in delivering more jaw-dropping and compelling stories that will keep you awake at night. Don't forget to turn on that notification bell so you never miss what happens next. Looking forward to the next one.